Alright, so welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to answer this particular question. It's one of those questions that shows up in a lot of interviews. Okay, so they usually ask you, given this string, so we have a string over here which is called foods. I just created a random string, and so they would say you must rearrange the items using the trailing number. And so if you notice, this is one string and it has got different items. There might be colors, animals, or food items. In this instance, it's food items, and so they have a number, a trailing number on each one of them. So this one, the beans is 1, yogurt is 2, and so I should rearrange these items using that trailing number. Beans has to come in first, and then followed by yogurt, and then bread and burger, and then the pizza comes in last. And then after you rearrange these, you have to remove the number and return the string, or return a string. I would say return a string here. I think it makes a lot more sense. All right, so how do we tackle this? The first thing is, obviously, I would create a variable called items, and what they're usually testing is the knowledge of any programming language. So I'm solving this in Python, and so what they're testing me is, do I understand the built-in methods in Python? So that's what I'm going to use. And so I'll say items, and then I'll go for foods, which is this variable here, and I want to split these, and so I'll use the split method, which is a built-in method in Python. So the split method would grab your string and split it. And so if you don't specify here any argument, it's going to split it using the spaces. And so I'm not going to specify anything because I want this to be split along the spaces, and so that's what I want. And so if I print this out, you'll see the outcome. So items, and save this and run. Down here, you guys can actually see what I get back is a list of these items. Now they are individual items. It's no longer one big string. Okay, that's what I wanted, the first thing. So that's the first step. Okay, the second step, obviously, I want to rearrange these now. Okay, since now they are individual items, but in a list, I have to rearrange them. So in Python, we have a method called sorted, and then this sorted can take in 2 arguments, but 1 is required. So the items, what you want to rearrange, I want to rearrange the items because I assigned them to this particular variable, and so I'm going to rearrange them. And so if right now, if I save and run this, you'll see these have been rearranged using the alphabet. So B comes first. Obviously it will move on to the next letter to check which one comes first, and obviously E comes first, and then R, and then U, because their first letters are similar, and then obviously Y will come last, and that's the logic. And so that's how these items are being sorted. But this is not what I want. I want them to be sorted using the number, right? Because currently you can see beans is 1, yeah, it's all right, but yogurt 2 is way at the end. This is not what I want. And so here you can pass in a second argument. We call that the key. All right, so the key is going to be a determinant on how you're going to sort your items. Okay, it's the basis on which you're going to sort your items. And so I'm going to pass in a lambda function over here. In Python, we have a lambda function, which is just a one-liner. If you don't understand what a lambda function is, there's a website here, W3 Schools. A lambda function is a small anonymous function. It can take any number of arguments, but can only have one expression. And so that's what I'm going to use. And so I'm going to use the power of the lambda. And so what I'm going to do is, from these items list, I am going to say each item. This is the argument that I'm passing, and then a colon, and then the condition. So I'm going to say item -1. And so I'm saying arrange these items using the last element of each item. Okay, so this is the last element 1, this is the last element 3, this is the last element 4, and etc. And so if I save this and run this again, you guys can actually see these have been rearranged in that order. So this has specified the key, the condition, which I want my items to be rearranged. Okay, so this variable can be anything. You could say food. I could have passed it, that, and it's still gonna work, for as long as the first one is similar to the second one. It's gonna work. However, I prefer to call it an item. It makes a whole lot of sense since these are items, and so for each individual item. All right, so I'm using indexing over here, so I'm pointing to the last item in that particular string, if you are not familiar with indexing. And so we want to convert this list back into a string, and so we have a method in Python which we call join, and we want to use spaces. And so what you simply have to do is items and then space. That's how I want to join these individual items. Okay, so it's going to look at these items and then decide how it's going to join them. And so I'm going to use a space, and then I'm going to say dot join that particular method, and then pass in the items. If I pass in items right now, if I save and run this, you guys can actually see we still have that trailing number. And so this is not what I want. I don't want this trailing number. So how do we go about it? So we need to put in a condition. And so I want to use a list comprehension. And so I'm going to pass in square brackets. And so I'll say item. For each and every individual item, I want you to look at each individual character. And so I'm going to use what we call slicing here. For each item, I want you to slice the last character. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to say, and then -1. So this means you're getting everything except the last character. And then you can come here and say for item in items. And so we are still referencing these items. Okay, so we are saying for each and every item in items, please remove the last character. This is what it means. We are slicing. Get everything except the last character. And so if I save this and run this, you can actually see the numbers are gone. But we still have that similar order. If I'm to come up here, you can see beans is number 1, yogurt is number 2, bread is number 3, burger is number 4, and pizza is number 5. And that's the order we wanted. And so to confirm whether it's a string or not, we have a method that we use in Python. We call it the type. You can check the type of any data, and so if I run this, you can actually see it belongs to class string. And so we have successfully completed this particular question. To clarify the join, if here I put in a plus sign, okay, so it's going to join those items using a plus sign. And so let me remove these parentheses and save and run. You can see now it says beans plus yogurt plus bread plus. So if you put an empty space like this, a space, it's going to join them using the space. And so if I save and run, now I have the space, which was originally this one. These are separated by spaces, and so you want to do the same. You want to separate them using spaces. Okay, I hope it makes a whole lot of sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I really want to thank you for your support. I'll see you in our next video. For now, I'm out. Bye bye.